We're in the Keep Military Museum in Dorchester, Dorset, and this is our reconstruction of a First World War trench. Now, trench warfare was not anything that anybody thought was going to happen. It was a complete surprise to both sides. But first of all, one side dug in, then the other, and what you've got are trench lines that go all the way from the North Sea, a place called Nieuport in Belgium, all the way down through Belgium, through France, right the way down to the Swiss border. Now, in a straight line, that's almost 500 miles. But it's not just one trench each side, there's loads. So we have, on each side, we've got multiple fighting trenches or communication trenches. Nobody really knows this, but it's been estimated, best guess, on the Western Front, there was something like 10,000 miles of trenches. That's an awful lot of digging. And this is fairly typical. It's dug into the chalk, so we're probably somewhere down like the Somme, and to stop it collapsing in, it's revetted, and they used just about anything to start with. They used old doors, bits of wood ats of demolished houses, anything they could put in to stop the trenches falling in, because of course you've got the impacts of shells on the outside, and then winter comes and the rain starts falling and everything starts to slump in, so you've got to try and really just keep your trench the shape it should be. The trench itself, it's about 7 feet deep, so obviously you can't see over the top, which is why they put in a fire step, which is what we've got here, and that is facing the enemy, so that you could actually, if you needed to, usually at night, you climb up on the fire step and fire over in the direction of the enemy. Trench life during the daytime, frankly, there's not a huge amount going on. It's too dangerous a lot of the time because the enemy artillery observers will see you. What tends to happen is when it comes to night time, when the dark comes, that's when you can actually start moving about. And that's when you'd get the wiring parties going out to repair the barbed wire, listening posts, these guys crawling out into no man's land to see if they could sort of hear what the enemy was doing, and patrols from either side aiming to dominate the bit in the middle, no man's land. Life in a trench, well, to be honest, when you're in here 7 foot deep, it's not that dangerous. Unless you get a direct hit from a big enemy shell, when you're in here you're going to be reasonably safe. What you are not going to be, of course, is comfortable. Imagine this in the winter. The rain comes pouring down the sides, the mud builds up in the bottom, you're wading about in liquid mud. It's like living in a ditch down the side of a field in some really filthy weather. They tried to keep the trenches drained, worked sometimes, didn't others. But the good news is that the British Army especially tried to look after its men. I think a lot of people have got this idea that guys are in the trenches for weeks and weeks and weeks. It was actually 1 week in 3 under normal circumstances that your battalion, your unit, would be in the front line. 1 week in 3, 2 weeks out, back in again, and then your battalion will be withdrawn, and chances are you might not see the trenches again for perhaps a couple of months. So when it comes down to it, you know, it's a bit like school, really, isn't it? It's the weeks are pretty horrible, but the weekend isn't far away.